I want to talk about Owl House. I want to do a little Owl House breakdown because for those of you who don't know, 2 weeks ago, Danny gave me Owl House as homework. He told me watch the first season of Owl House without telling me that the first season of Owl House is 19 episodes long.
Yeah.
You talk about the show like, oh, it got ended so early. The show didn't get its chance to get its run. It's got like 50 goddamn It's got 3 seasons.
That's not enough. It's not enough.
Danny, the first season, first off, it ran from 2020 to 2022. In 3 years, they got 3 seasons. Every single year, they were just like, hey, more Owl House, more Owl House, more Owl House. They gave 19 episodes in the first season. I think it's like 14 or 15 in the second season. And then the third season only has 3 episodes, admittedly, but they're all an hour long. It's 3 hours of content, which is objectively like, what, 9 episodes? Like 9 regular episodes?
I need 5 seasons of the Owl House.
Listen,
You'll get it. Once you get through season 2, you'll start to notice like where things are wrapping up a little too abruptly and where things could definitely like expand if there was more time. But go on, what are your thoughts?
Everyone's yelling at me. Not enough, Nick. Not enough. And here's the thing, chat. Okay, chat. I love it.
Let's go.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to come out and say it's a lot of fun. I sat down for the first episode, so ready, so just lubricated and just willing and just compliant and just, sitting there with my legs open, waiting to dislike this show so goddamn much. Because everything that I've seen from you, I'm like, oh, this is children's programming. And it kind of isn't, and it kind of isn't. And there's things about it that I dislike, but there's also things about it that I like deeply, deeply adore. It is straight out the gate, episode 1, straight out the gate, one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. Like it, not like one of the like, not like that might be hyperbole, but like it is. The bit rate and the writing on it is phenomenal. And this is you seem to talk about season 1 like it's inferior to season 2. Which I feel as though is usually the way you talk about a lot of things. You're like, oh, it doesn't get good until the second season. But the first season of this show is a lot of fun. Like, I love just like, it's like, and I understand now why you love reacting to it because, my God, is there something, I'm watching it and I'm like, I could be running bits right now. Like, as I'm watching it, I'm doing bits based off their bits because it's every fucking 10 seconds there's a joke of some sort. And that might be because it's meant for kids. That might be because it's like built in a fucking era of no like attention span whatsoever. But it is a lot of fun. I love Luz. Love is cool. Or Luz is cool. She immediately, and I started to understand immediately why you liked her and like this story as a whole. Because immediately, like within like 4 minutes of the starting the show, she's like, I don't want to go to summer camp. I want to make music videos edited to anime and read like space novel, like or space fantasy books. And I just wrote down, this girl makes AMVs and reads Brandon Sanderson. No wonder Danny fucking loves this universe.
She's a great character. She's like, yeah, the show, season 1 is a lot worse than season 2, and you'll like agree objectively with me. But, like, she's always been a great character, and the show has always felt, like, incredibly passionate. Like, it has, like, huge messages of, like, oh, be as much of a weirdo as you want. Like, being, like, yourself and being creative is, like, the best way to go about it. And it says that very, like, not original message in a very passionate way. Like, it feels like, I said this in my reaction where, like, a lot of shows will have that message where it's like, just be yourself, it's fine. But you could tell that those people have never been criticized for being a weirdo in their life. Yeah. And this show feels like it understands. It's like, no, we're gonna make Luz weird as fuck. Like, she's releasing live snakes upon her classmates. Like,
okay, but in the beginning, they definitely do identify the fact that she's like weird as shit, right? Like she's like, oh, like that is very funny. She's like, they're like, oh, we'll forgive you this one time, and then a snake attacks her principal, and they're like, all right, you're gonna go to like the conformatorium of essentially the real world where you learn how to do spreadsheets and like love mayonnaise, which I thought was very, very funny. But like once she gets to the Boiling Isles, she's by far and away not the weirdest person there. Like, yes, one of the first things that they focus on in the first couple of episodes of the Owl House is like, hey, like, yeah, to be whoever you want, because Luz ends up at the conformatorium, and there's like the 3 people there who are all like varying different degrees, like, and shades of weird, right? They're just so much weirder than Luz, it's not even close. There is a fucking walking anarchist nose.
I call her Smelvin. I don't know her real name. I hate her.
She's first off everywhere, just like literally everywhere. All the other people that are in the conformatorium that get out that were infinitely more interesting than fucking Smelvin, never see him again. What about the girl who makes like fan fiction for? It was so funny. I actually have a note for this. Well, first off, I said the guy who eats his own eyes deserves jail. That guy, listen, you're trying to tell me that Luz is weird because she likes AMVs and fucking and high fantasy novels, and we're trying to conflate that with a guy who literally rips out his own eyeballs and eats them. That deserves jail time. Yeah. But there's like an anarchist, a guy that rips out his own eyes and eat them, and then in the middle, in between them, there's a girl who's like, I make food fanfic. And I was like, this doesn't deserve jail time. The other two, that's an active anarchist, and that man is mentally ill. The girl who writes fanfic does not deserve to be in jail.
Yeah, she's just a Dungeon Meshy fan. Like, that's it.
Yeah, she's just writing Sausage Party.
Yeah, she's just writing recipes. Like, she's like, I want like romantic fan fiction about food. Like, bitch, that's a soup.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, literally, like that. You are talking about a boiling pot or a melting pot. That is it. There's a lot of things that I've seen the first 10 episodes now. And I just watched the episode that it's like she started to kind of go to Hexside, like she is going to Hexside, and I was really hoping that we weren't going to end up at Hexside. Like, I think the strongest part of the storytelling is like Ida, it's King, it's Luz. I kind of fucking hate Gus and Willow.
Wow.
I don't hate them, but they are the weakest part of the story by far and away. Gus has some somewhat interesting, like, to me, all right, here's the thing. This is a children's show. I think we can both accept that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we watched, like, all anime to some sense is a children's show, but, like, this is probably the youngest skewing demographic show that we've ever watched together as a podcast.
For sure.
At the same time, this show tackles very adult themes. Like, it's kind of like SpongeBob, where you're like, adults can watch this because they understand the jokes. Kids can watch it because they take home lessons, right?
Yeah.
And so this show, to me, never feels like a kid's show until Gus and Willow show up. Because Gus and Willow, every time they show up, the meaning of what they're trying to show us, they just beat you over the head with it. Like, I feel like Gus is the walking embodiment of, like, he will say the exact message we're trying to drive home here. Like, it's like, he's like, oh, I'm younger, I skipped some grades, and like now, like, I'm always fighting to like make sure that I feel as though like I'm welcome here. And like all of these are like prevalent stories that should be told, or like that kind of thing. But like, I don't know, just like Gus and Willow, to me, feel like the weakest part of the story, which is why I didn't want Luz to go to Hexside, because I was like, oh, it's just like, if she goes to Hexside, it's just going to become another magical school story, right? And I don't want it to be another magical school story. I like Amity. I like Amity's story a lot. I know we're obviously building like a enemies to lovers kind of situation with her, most likely. But like, I think Amity's a cool character. Willow and Gus, to me, are just like an example of like, and it might just because everybody else shines so brightly in the story. Like, King is awesome. Ida's awesome. Both of them have like, King's voice actor is like supremely talented. The rage squeal makes me like kick my feet. Like, every time they're like, it's kind of like Ida. Every time Ida is like, oh my God, you're so cute. Like, you're so little and so angry. Every time there's a rage squeal, I just kick my little feet. It's so much fun. But yeah. So I'm having a lot of fun, but yeah, Gus.
Wow.
And Willow, I don't know.
I'm such a Willow fan. Willow's fucking sick. Obviously, you kind of got to like get to that. Again, season 2 is like, you'll be like, did they fire every single writer and hire like Hollywood's top talent all of a sudden? Like, it's
really? So it gets like more serious or like funnier?
Oh yeah, it gets way more serious. It's still funny. It's like Hell of a Boss, where it takes like, out of nowhere, it starts taking itself really seriously. But it's more impressive and more shocking because it's a kid's show. Like, it goes from, like, PG to legitimately PG-13. Like, there's blood, and there's, like, harrowing stakes, and Willow's sick, and Willow's got her harem of dads. Willow's got 2 whole dads. Most people only get 1 of those. Some people get none of those.
Okay, you're telling me Willow coming from a gay family is even remotely surprising? The plant-using girl, the plant vendor, like that is the most 2-dad energy character I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. And if you told me that Gus has 2 moms, I would be the least surprising thing I've heard this week. Those 2 are 2 individual single gay children. Like, I'm not saying that they themselves are gay, but they have gay parents.
Yeah, that's fair. That's entirely fair.
That would not surprise me at all. Amity comes from a cis het relationship. Her dad's like a used car salesman, like a real Giga Chad. Her mom's like a form your debutante kind of thing, like real, like that. Amity comes from like a Southern family, but Gus, 2 moms, absolutely. They're the same height. They have the same haircut. Every winter they do like a little getaway to a bed and breakfast. And Willow, absolutely 2-dad energies, and they love her more than anything on the face of their earth. Like I don't know.
That was a crazy read on Amity. Have you met her parents yet?
No, I'm on.
That was a crazy read on Amity.
I'm assuming I'm correct.
That was a crazy accurate read on Amity, at least on the mom.
That's awesome. I absolutely adore that, because that is exactly to me who she shines as. But her story, like, so I got to the episode where we are introduced to her older brother and sister, right?
Yeah. And they're bad news.
But like they're like the cool kids. I kind of like that they didn't do the standard thing where it was like, oh, like they're my mean older siblings and they're just trying to make you feel cool so they can prank you later on. Yeah. They were just like actually just trying to get a dig on Amity, which I kind of appreciated. But that episode was really, really good. I like that they're establishing the connection between Luz and Amity. But at the end of the day, what?
I was just gonna say, I like how the show is like, oh, Amity's such a bitch, and like, she's the mean one. Luz won't stop ruining this girl's life.
Yeah.
Everywhere Amity turns, Luz is there fucking it up.
Yeah.
Regardless of Amity's literally just like volunteering at the library, and Luz is like, I'm gonna sneak into her secret bedroom and steal her diary and shit.
And then proceeds to just destroy the library. Like, yeah. Luz is like a domestic terrorist in that episode. Like, actually, you're right. Like, Amity they were doing like extra credit, like reading for children kind of thing. And Luz is like running around with her older siblings, just destroying public property.
Yeah.
They're a real problem, but I've actually never disliked Amity the entire time. Like they do try to do the thing where they're like, oh, look at this mean girl, but like I come from that exact same like perception where I'm like, I haven't necessarily perceived anything from Amity where I was like, oh, that's unacceptable. There was like the Borsha girl, that girl was a bitch, right?
Basha sucks.
Yeah, Basha sucks, but I've never been like, oh, Amity sucks, right? Yeah. Amity's mom is voiced by Azula, by Gray.
That's just simply not true. That's just false information. She's voiced by Haley from American Dad.
Wow. Yikes. Yeah. Yikes. Anarchy hamster. Brutal. Get fact checked.
Yikes.
Actually. It is a very fun episode. I just got to the Owlbert episode where Luz, Gus, and Willow are trying to go to the other school to watch I like that they just call it sport. That's very fun. That's very fun. And I love that the sport is just like actively not trying to die at the hands of griffins. Also very fun. Yeah. They're trying to go, and there's like, it's like the Palisman episode where Luz accidentally hurts Owlbert while they're flying, and Owlbert's like skull gets cracked, and you get introduced to the fact that Queen Bat is like a former Palisman, and she keeps an eye on all the Palismans. Love Queen Bat. Love Queen Bat, dude. She is a bad bitch. She has one of the funniest jokes I can remember in this show, which is at the end of this episode, which is my favorite episode I've seen thus far, by the way. That's what I'm building towards. Is she has her 3 babies that they watch earlier, and she's like, time to have a book before bed. And then she just starts ripping the pages up and feeding them to the babies, and she's like, consume, gain knowledge, avoid paper cuts. And I was just fucking chuckling. But that episode had me on the verge of tears. Like, it was like, that was the episode where I realized, I was like, oh, they have like actual ability to write stories here. And like, they've always done a really good job at tackling what I would assume are pervasive issues for kids just who are watching the show, right? Like, the show does a very good job of making anybody and everybody feel as though they're accepted in the universe, and I think that's a beautiful story. But like I think this episode was the first real foray into like actual real like conversational pieces and like actual like hard hitting character development points, because everything else, like the first 9 episodes, while they're all fun, are kind of just like they do like every episode teaches a lesson of sorts. Like the Freaky Friday episode, they're like, oh, everyone has their struggles, right? Every episode has a take home message. But this is the first episode where it felt like they didn't have to hit you over the head with what the take home message was. Like the Freaky Friday thing, they like are specifically describing it. And that's probably because it's a show for children. They don't expect you to understand the subcontext, right? And that's why like when we're growing up and our English teacher was like, the blue curtain means this, we're all like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. But like in actuality, they were right. Like now that we understand like the subcontext of a lot of these reading things, like it is much easier for us with fully formed brains to understand what these take-home messages are. Yeah, but this is the first episode that felt like, oh, they didn't need to explain it to me.
And that's what I mean in that, like, this first season sucks, is that, like, there are no Freaky Friday episodes in Season 2. Season 2 is, like, all plot.
Yeah.
It's, like, one continuous plot, and it just gets, like, more and more interesting. The power system gets really cool. The world building is wild. There's like a bunch. They like introduce like what are essentially like the 9 Hashira, like the 9 heads of like each witch coven.
Oh my god,
it's so dope.
Can we talk about the witch covens? Can we talk about what a silly program? I get that it's supposed to be like, I get it's supposed to be like an analogy or like an allegory for like sororities or fraternities or just like even like getting into the trades of some sort. But like, oh, they're like, oh, join this coven and we seal off all your other magic. And yet Gus, who's supposed to be this childhood genius, is like, yeah, I'm gonna be an illusion magician. My god, like I get that he can make like shadow clones and he's got like his like clone taking all of his homework for him. Also a really funny joke. He's like, they don't always pay attention, and then he looks back and he's like,
yeah.
Very fucking funny. But my god, why would you sign up for half of these covens?
Yeah, that's the thing. Half of them suck.
Yeah.
Potions Coven, stupid as hell. Goop Coven, Abomination Coven, also kind of stupid in comparison.
Abomination Coven is just kind of like making a little guy who does stuff for you. That I could get behind.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, the potions one is like the most ridiculous to me, and like the most ridiculous that Luce like starts with that one. And then she's like, oh, actually, this one's kind of lame. Yeah, no shit, it's kind of lame. One of these is like the Beast Taming Coven. Do that one.
Yeah, or the Power Coven, which is just working in construction.
Yeah, true.
So fucking Smelvin can take their power glyphs and literally cause anarchy. So I really enjoy it. Why is the chat talking about how Disney fucked this show?
Oh,
what's going on?
Because it got canceled. Like, so it gets canceled in a way that still makes it like a satisfying watch. Like she was told season 2, like she was told that they were gonna have to wrap it up. Rather than being like, oh yeah, you have 3 seasons, and then in season 2 being like, oh, gotcha, you're done. So what's good is that like it does create a satisfying, like fulfilling arc. It's just that there's so much more the show could have done and so many other places the show could have gone to. And yeah, it definitely, it sucks. Like the farther it goes along, the better it gets. It's like One Piece, where it's like, you think you hit like the peak episode, and then it just gets better and better, and then the final episode is the best episode.
Yeah. So. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm having a really good time. I'm probably just gonna keep watching it here for like the next week. Dorothy doesn't come back for another whole 3 days, so I got nothing but free time here.
3 days. That's good.
3 days. Yeah, no, I will once again be completed. Did the Polish government make this show?
Where is this headed?
I don't know. Like the credits just have like a gajillion Polish names.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like there's like so much like I don't know if the creator is Polish or something. But there's like I don't know, like so yeah, Dana Terrace. Nope, American animator. Everyone is also telling us to watch DuckTales. I'm sure you've heard of this.
Yeah, I'll probably never watch DuckTales. I can't imagine that one's like, it's DuckTales, you know? Like, you know what that is?
I don't know what DuckTales is.
You know what DuckTales is? It's a fucking Scrooge McDuck's show.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, apparently she did the 2017 remake.
wow, that's
Oh my God, Bobby Moynihan is in it, and Danny Pudi and Ben Schwartz
yeah, and so is
and
David
David
Tennant.
Tennant
Yeah, it's got a
and Beck
great,
Bennett.
it's got a crazy cast.
It does have a crazy cast. What the hell?
It's like most of SNL is in it.
That's wild. I mean, listen, maybe we watch it together. Maybe we
Yeah,
watch.
okay.
Maybe that's how we get it. Nick is fucking. We might be here for a day or two. Okay, let's go. You know what? Fine. Nick, homework, DuckTales. Yeah, Danny's gonna have to win something, ladies and gentlemen.
I guess
But yeah,
so.
no. So Owl House is a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep on watching it. I would break Ada's hip. I would just.
Oh, I
I-
love her voice, dude. Her voice gets me going so
how old do you think her
aggressively.
voice actor is?
She's like 81, something like
Oh,
that.
she's like late 70s.
Yeah, I know her. You think I haven't looked this bitch up? You kidding me? She's also hot in real life for an 80-year-old woman.
She was a model. She was a model like back in the 90s.
Yeah, she looks like someone that would like seduce James Bond into a trap.
Dude, if you look at her IMDb page, it's crazy.
Yeah.
This woman has been acting forever, but she does such a good job with the role. And yeah, Ida is crazy hot. I would split her straight down the middle. Who's your favorite character?
Excluding Hooty, because I feel like that's not really what you're asking me.
Hooty's such a non-character.
You shut your goddamn mouth. I love Hooty. He's the funniest character.
Okay, first off, I want to tell you one of my first notes here, Dan. I want to tell you one of my first notes here. Big fan of what's ever going on with Hooty.
Yep.
Because the second we get introduced to the Owl House, he gets like the house gets hit, and he goes, "Ow!"
Yeah.
And I started cry laughing. I love that we just mix in. First off, I love that his voice is like, "Hi guys." I don't know why, but I love that. There's the one where they're all competing to see who's gonna have to watch Owl or to wash Hooty, and he's just rolling around in the mud, and he's like, "I'm 20% mucus," and then he's always like, there's the episode where they like animate him, and he's like, "I was just happy to be involved." Like
Yeah.
I also love Hooty. I'm not gonna get my words twisted here at all, but basically a non-character. Like that is not, you cannot be chosen as your favorite character.
No, that's entirely fair. It is funny because he like, it feels like season 1. The idea with Hooty was that he was gonna be this like annoying character that's like funny, but like the audience would also like find annoying along with the characters. Just not the case. He's just endearing.
He's
People
so
are so mean to him. Like in the show, everyone's shitting on him all of season 1. And then it feels like Dana Terrace realized that people just love him and then like toned it down in season 2 because they're way nicer.
Yeah, they're like, he's like, "You guys want to hear what I did today?" And everyone's like, "No, fuck you, Hooty." And I was like, "Chill out."
No,
My God.
I also like cracked up at that bit where he's like, they like slam his door and he's like, "Ow, jeez, Hoot." So that's great. But yeah, my favorite character is probably Amity.
Amity, really? Okay, I definitely understand. Like, I understand like how that would develop.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like I could absolutely see Amity being my favorite character down the line here because I think out of all of the characters, she's really the only character who seems to go, at least from what I'm identifying, like at this point, who's going to seem to go on any character arc development of any sort. Like
They all go on some arcs, and then there's a character you haven't met yet who shows up in season 2 who's awesome. He's like
my
a
thing is,
Zuko type.
Luz doesn't really, what I've seen, like I said, I'm 10 episodes in, but like Luz doesn't really go on a character arc. Like Luz just kind of wants to go to the Hexside, and it's now just going to Hexside. If I would say in the first 10 episodes, if any character's already gone a character arc, it would be Ida. Because Ida was like, "Oh, I have this apprentice. Like, I'm not going to force her to try and live the life that I'm living, because obviously this isn't a life for everybody, but I trust her enough that I believe that she can go to Hexside and still like maintain her individuality, right?" And so she goes to Hexside. She talks to Principal Bump or whatever his name is, or Principal Hump or some shit.
Bump.
And yeah. And like she like fixes all the things that she fucked up at Hexside. And I was like, that's a pretty sweet moment. Like I thought that was really cool from Ida. And like we do kind of get like a moment from Gus where like Gus lies to Luz to get her to the school for like the human appreciation like program, and he realizes that like he's seeking validation rather than like noticing what's in front of him, which is his friends kind of thing. But like I would say my favorite character right now is probably Ida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ida's great. Ida's very funny. She's very good. Luz definitely goes through an arc. If I had to compare her to any anime character, it would be Edward Elric. This show becomes
Mhm.
Very Full Metal Alchemist inspired.
I guess actually, yeah, no. I guess I am kind of forgetting the fact that like like within the first 2 episodes, she's like, oh, I want to be special, right? She gets tricked onto that huge journey, and like she's got like this like the fucking powered up sword and all of that, and that is kind of a cool moment where like Ida's like, oh, listen, like none of us are special. We have to like work for the things that we have here. There's like no shortcuts. And I thought that was pretty sweet. Like Lou's coming to grips with like the fact that this fantasy world isn't all that she cracked it up to be, but she's still gonna enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that like real life can be monotonous and kind of ugly, but you have to find the beauty in it. So like I guess there was kind of that.
Yeah.
So I guess yeah, if I'm gonna acknowledge like Ida's one episode of like, hey, I guess you can go to Hexside as growth, I should say the same for Lou's.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you're watching it, and it'll simply only get better and better.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I don't know when our next like episode is gonna be actually. So I don't know how much I'm gonna see prior to then.
I don't know. That's up to you, baby.
Oh, it's up to me?
That's up to you. How is it up to me how much you watch?
Oh, no. I'm saying like our next episode. That's what's up to you.
Oh,
You're the one who's going to be out doing fucking family shit. I'm going to be here, baby. Fucking December 26th, I'm back. I'm locked in. I'm tied to my computer. It's going to be awesome.
Very exciting.
Man, I love
I'm excited
working.
for you.